What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Properties and Pour Overs podcast. My name is Adam Colbert, and today I have a very special guest, my buddy Trevor Tirrell. What's going on, Trevor?
Hey, good, Adam. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, bro. Thanks for taking some time to come and share your story. And so, just to introduce yourself to the listeners, can you tell me where you're located in the country and what does your business look like currently?
Yeah, so I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, and basically I've been working on a micro resort project for about the last 6 months. I found some land back in February, got it under contract, and supposed to be closing on it 4 weeks from today.
Very cool.
Yeah, so the idea is to build like six luxury micro cabins
Hmm.
with some amenities, make it really like upscale, kind of yeah, like the resort amenities. Um, it's really a cool piece of property. It's along a creek,
Yeah,
and I don't know. Typically, when I think of creek, I think of like this little tiny stream, right? This
sure.
thing's like 25 feet across, and it's got some serious water flow, and it's
Yeah,
really pretty. Like when I went to look at the land, I just fell in love with the sounds and stuff. So it's gonna
sure.
be really cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll dig into that a little bit more as we progress through this episode. But so to take me back, like give me a little background on Trevor. Like, where did you grow up? What kind of industry did you land in as far as once you start getting into the workforce? When did entrepreneurship come into play and specifically like real estate? I know that's like a lot of things in one, but like we'll make our way through it. But like tell me about you. Who is Trevor?
Yeah, so I grew up in near South Bend, Indiana, northern Indiana, like right, I don't know, close to Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm used to the cold Midwest winters, right off Lake Michigan and stuff.
Hmm.
And my dad actually, he was self-employed pretty much my entire childhood. You know, he raised a family with four kids and had his own business. Kept it small, it was just him and one other guy. And
Hmm.
he did that for like 20, 25 years. And so I think that whole entrepreneurship, idea runs in the family. Both my brothers work for themselves.
Yeah.
Uh, I've had businesses in the past. I've had several. And so anyway, but recently I've been working in software.
Okay.
So I've been doing software development for the last 11 years and just getting tired of it, because I've been actually in IT for 28 years. First 17 years was hardware, networking, and I switched over to the software side because
Okay.
I wanted something new, something challenging.
Sure. Yeah.
But the thing about IT is it's constantly changing, constantly evolving. Now you've got blockchain technologies, you've got AI, you've got all this stuff, and
Yeah.
you have to stay on top of it. You constantly have to be learning. So I've been doing that for 27, years,
Yeah.
and I was like, it's time for a change. So
Sure.
just started doing some research. Came across Pace about 2 years ago. Joined the Subto community. 6 months later, joined the Owners Club community, and yeah, things have just been going since then.
That's amazing. Love it. And so obviously like we're going to talk about this micro resort, but when you first stepped in to sub 2, like was there any specific exit strategy or thing that he was teaching that really caught your eye? Because obviously like the world of just creative finance alone, but then overarching real estate, there's so many things that we can do
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
space. And so I think that's why shiny object syndrome is so real for guys like us, is because
yeah.
everything works. It's just, it's really tough to make them all work at once. It's overwhelming. So, like, what was that journey when you first came into the community?
Yeah, you got to figure out what works for you, right?
Totally.
What speaks to you. And so I actually was kind of going down the self-storage route. I did a 6-week boot camp with a guy. And during that last week, that weeks 5, week 6, Pace Morby jumped up on my screen.
Yeah.
And what he said about creative finance, because I was actually looking for some self-storage businesses. I was calling around, but I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't have any money. And so when he started talking about self-storage, things started to click because my parents, when I was 6 years old, they bought a house on land contract, basically seller
Yep.
finance.
Hmm.
And they owned that house for like 12 years. They sold it. And then later, my mom in 2012 kind of did the same thing. She was actually a little bit upside down on her, excuse me, on her mortgage.
Hmm.
So she did the same thing. She did a land contract with someone. Their payments were making her
Yeah.
mortgage payments, and so anyway, so when Pace started, I was listening to Pace about creative finance. I'm like, oh, I've seen this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This makes sense. I understand it. And then I also had a business. One of my businesses, I was working for a guy, and his business went from 13 employees down to three, which
Wow.
included me,
Hmm.
because he lost his major client, right? Went
Okay.
from 13 employees down to three. I was one of them, but then I left. Then it was just two. Then the other guy left, so it was just the owner, and he didn't know anything about IT.
Yeah.
So he's, selling these projects and jobs and fiddling through it, and the business is just tanking. And so he had this project he needed some help on. So he's like, "Hey, Trevor, can you come? Can you help me with this?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Setting up like servers and different things. So I go out there and I'm working with him for like a week or two. And as we're talking, I just asked how things go. And he's like, "Well, I'm actually starting a new job as a general manager somewhere else. And I'm trying to sell my business. And I'm talking to some guys and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Well, I might be interested in buying it." Because I knew a lot of the clients and I
Sure.
had the relationships already.
Yeah.
I'm like, "I might be interested in buying it." I said, "But I don't have any money." And he's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And a week later, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, yeah, you still interested? That fell through." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, "Tell you what, I'll pay you 30% of revenue for 3 years, you know,
Hmm.
and that's what we agreed on. So nothing
Nice.
down, nothing
Yeah.
down, bought the business. 3 years later, I turned around and sold the business on terms.
Nice.
So again, when Pace is talking about creative finance, I'm like, I've seen it done with, in the real estate. I've done it myself with business.
Sure.
And so that's what really spoke to me. I had no clue as far as real estate, what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where the shiny object came in because I could do this, I could wholesale, I could bird dog, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. So then through that progression of learning all these things inside the community, and again, there's so many different ways to make money in this space, but like you said, you got to find the one that's true to you. And you started in storage, and then you've kind of made your way through learning all these different things. So how did this micro resort come to be? And then let's dig into kind of more the overall vision of that and what your plans are for the space.
So through Owners Club, I came into contact with Michelle and Patrick Bison, and
Hmm.
they not Bison, Bison,
Yeah.
but and they actually helped me out a lot. I went to Branson with them to the big RV owners show out there.
Okay.
I went and saw their park out there. So talking with them and seeing what others are doing, there's others in the community that are doing it as well.
Hmm.
I started getting excited about RV parks.
Yeah.
Because the thing that interested me about self-storage was, basically there's so many units, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like multifamily, but you don't have to deal with tenants,
Yeah.
right?
Economies of scale at a much like
100%.
lower lift for you because,
Yeah.
like you said, there's no tenants.
No tenants.
Yeah.
So that's what got me excited about self-storage. And then the RV space is pretty much the same, right?
Similar.
But
Yeah.
even less maintenance because all you got is a concrete or maybe gravel
Right.
pad,
Yeah.
some
Dirt pad that
utilities,
they
and
park
that's it.
on.
And
Totally.
that's it. So I was like, okay, RV parks, that's cool. And so I went all in, I would say probably uh 14 months ago. I'm like, all right, RV parks, this is where I'm at. And so I was investigating, I was researching it. And because I was investigating and researching RV parks, I came across the guy who built a micro resort. And the the thing um, the thing that interested me about the micro resort is it's more of a luxury experience.
Sure.
And I was out there looking for RV parks, and I was struggling. Um, and I was finding some really rough RV parks that I was wondering, like, can I turn these around? I
Yeah.
was questioning my
It's like,
own abilities and
yeah, like too far gone for you and your
right.
current experience level. Yeah.
So when I found this guy that did the micro resort, he built the micro resort for like $2.3 million. It was 6 cabins on 5 acres. No, no, 7 cabins on 5 acres down in Waco, Texas.
Okay.
And he, built it for 2.3 million, turned around and sold it for 1 million a key. So 7 million.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that got me excited. And So that was probably back in January. And so I started looking for projects and I came across this farmhouse. It was a farmhouse built in 1901. It was really cool. And I was like, this would be awesome to have like a boutique hotel, Airbnb type, or bed and breakfast type thing.
Yeah,
And so I contacted the realtor. It's up in, I knew I wanted to be around the Smoky Mountains. I'm 2 hours from the Smoky Mountains. And
sure.
I remember as a kid coming down from Indiana to the Smoky Mountains. So I'm like, that's where I want to be. On the North Carolina side, though, not the
Hmm.
Tennessee side because it's too built up.
Yeah.
So I started looking for land. I found this house, contacted the realtor. She took me to see the house. And again, it was on the highway, so a lot of noise. When I was up there, I was amazed at how much road noise
Yeah,
was in this
resonated up
place.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so loud. And then the floors were falling in, the walls and roof were full of asbestos. And again, I was looking at this thing and thinking, man, it's going to be a lot of work.
Hmm.
Plus the highway noise. I'm like, I'm
Sure,
not.
yeah.
So she's like, well, I got three other properties I think might fit because I told her what I was looking to do. So this one property she showed me, like I said, I went down, I looked at the creek, and I just fell in love. So that was back in February. I saw the property, put an offer in about a month later because I want to do a little bit more research.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's been a wild ride the last 5 months.
That's awesome,
Six
man.
months, 6 months. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been crazy.
So, but it sounds like so with the obviously seller accepts, but he gives you a very long due diligence period so you can kind of do some of the front end work as far as entitlements and soil testing, all that kind of stuff. It's I would
Yeah.
assume because you said that you've been working on this since February. So like where are you at as far as steps before closing and then like projected timelines for all these things?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is all new to me. I've never done, I talked to Devin,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, why would you want to do, construction for your first project? He's like, don't do it, man. And I'm just like, or Doran, sorry.
Yeah,
Uh, and I'm like, I don't know. I can do it, whatever.
sure.
But so the cool thing is, so I talked to the realtor and I tried to get land, seller financing.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going for it. Like, okay, whatever. And so I said, well, I need 6 months due diligence. And they said, we'll do 3 months. And I'm like, I need four. Like, so they agreed to four. I had to put 1% down. So it's 14 acres for $250,000.
Okay,
And they needed 1% down, non-refundable. So $2,500.
sure.
And so that's kind of why it took me a month to like you know, uh, do a PSA with them because I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of this again, this is new. Should I do this?
Yeah,
$2,500 that I can't get back. So I did
right.
it. So
Mm-hmm.
we went the 4 months. Actually, it was about 3 months. So it was around July 1st. And I said, hey, I'm still talking with lenders. It's not going to happen in the next 30 days. I say, I need at least another 2 months. And she's like, well, what are you going to offer? I said, I'll do another 1%. Like, and they're like, okay. And I know, like, so I have 4 weeks to close, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting close, but I know if I have to extend that, I can because he had it on the market for over a year with no interest.
Yeah, I mean with large pieces of land, especially in more rural areas like that, I mean, I'm kind of shocked that he didn't accept seller finance for it in that
Yeah,
scenario. But yeah, if like I'm giving you your price, you're gonna have to give me the time to make sure that this is
yeah,
actually viable. So
yeah.
it makes sense.
So he's like I said, I had 4 months, extended to six. Um, so he had, I'd say about 9 years ago in 2016, he had excavated a little bit. So he had because this is like on the side of a mountain. So
Sure.
he had excavated a drive in and then leveled out a flat area where he was going to put a three-bedroom, two-bath double wide. He had electric ran, he had septic put in, and then his wife died.
Mm,
So nothing ever happened. The land's been
right.
sitting for 9 years.
Yep.
Finally, he decides he wants to sell. So I have septic. It's not a big enough for what I want to do, but
Sure.
I can still use it for that's going to be like for the amenities area.
Yeah.
I can use that septic for that.
Hmm.
I'm also going to have to increase the electric. They just put in for like single
Sure.
family. I
Yeah.
need more.
Yeah, it's gonna need more
So
output.
so through this whole process, and part of it was taking so long is I'm just figuring stuff out.
Of course.
I went and talked to the building inspection department, and they're basically like, well, in Swain County, North Carolina, all you need is your septic permit, and then we'll give you a building permit. I'm like, that's it? They're like, yeah. They say you have to have your plans drawn up, your
Hmm.
architectural plans. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's that mean? They're like on a piece of paper, just, what are you trying to build?
Hmm.
And I'm like, so it doesn't even have to be like professional architect, nothing. I could write it on the back of a napkin and say, this is what I'm building, right? And so I was talking to her and I'm like, well, it's on pretty steep slopes. So I'm gonna have, pier foundation and stuff. She goes, okay, well that we would need to be engineered. So basically two requirements, a septic permit, which
Hmm.
I already have pulled, and I
Sure.
have verbal approval. They just want to wait till I excavate a little bit to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I need to get basically I do need to get architectural plans engineered
Hmm.
because of the foundation. If it was on a slab, I wouldn't have to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, and that's all that they require in Swain County. So there's no zoning, there's
That's
no
amazing.
any soil test, no civil engineering, no nothing.
Wow.
There's setbacks,
Sure.
but that's it.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
and when you have 14 acres, the setback's not going to be a big issue. So,
Yeah, there's 25 feet from the creek,
yeah,
10 feet from the neighbor's property. I mean, yeah.
nice.
So, anyways, so this is moving along. I've got an architect working on this. I've got a general contractor. Because since again in North Carolina, if it's not your primary residence, you have to have a general contractor.
Yeah, if
Uh,
it's over 40,000, which obviously this is going to cost quite a bit more than that.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So I've got a general contractor. I've got the architects lined up. I've got some marketing people helping me because what I'm trying to do now, I have a bank that'll offer me 80% loan to cost.
Hmm.
But I need to come up with the 20%.
Right.
So that's what I've been working through the last 3 months. Been talking
Hmm.
to banks, talking to SBA lenders, talking to investors, all kinds of
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
And as of right now, I'm that's where I'm struggling.
Hmm.
Um, so what I'm doing is I hired a marketing company to help me with like my social media, and I'm trying to get the message out there. And
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is pre-sales.
Sure. Super
So
smart.
yeah, I'm gonna do pre-sales for about only like 20% because of the available occupancy. I don't want to pre-sell everything
Of course. Yeah.
because then your year one revenue is nothing, right?
Hmm.
So, but I'm doing like 5-year packages. So you can do 2 nights a year for 5 years or 4 nights a year for 5 years. And
Mm.
then you can also gift those. Like, so if you want to gift it to a family member or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the pre-sales, if this works, which I'm just launching, I just launched it this week. I've got a website up there now and stuff. But if this works, I'll be able to get my 20% and be able to retain 100% equity.
Yeah. That's amazing. Love
So
that,
that's
dude.
that's what I'm shooting for right now. So
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, no, I think that's a great model. And I mean, you look at like what is it, the bolts with all their super crazy, like domes and stuff that they've
yes,
built out
yep.
like in the rock in the Smokies and stuff where they get a lot of that social media presence before they even started building them. And now they've exploded over the last few years. And so I think that's super smart. Um, and I like that kind of like pseudo timeshare structure where
Mhm.
you're not buying in for ever. It's for a set amount of time.
Yeah.
And
You're
it's
not
also
locked
not,
in. Yeah.
yeah, you're not locking it in. And it's like, it's more flexible. It's not like you have to come between July and
Mhm.
September, halfway through September, or you've missed your window, right?
Yeah.
Like something like that. So, remind me, how many of these cabins are you looking to build on these 14 acres? You said six.
Yeah, 6 cabins. They're I call them luxury creekside villas.
Okay.
So they're it's just a living room, bedroom, uh, full kitchen and bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they're large rooms, so it's under 500 square feet, but the rooms are large.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're luxurious, materials that I'm using, finishes
Sure.
and stuff. And then the bathroom's gonna be like a spa-like bathroom, huge walk-in rain shower and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida ceiling glass overlooking the creek.
Cool.
So it's pretty sweet. I can't wait for the architect to get me like right now I have like an artistic rendering that
Mm-hmm.
kind of gives you an idea.
Yeah.
But the architects, they're working on a realistic rendering, so that's gonna be really cool when I get that. So
Yeah, amazing. And so is the plan to b build these six and you're done, or are you going to try to like do this in phases because you have so
yeah,
much land? I
exactly.
would assume that you could always continue to expand or add different amenities, do your own little mini RV park onto the side or something else like that. So like, what's your vision for the whole use of the acreage?
So what's cool is this is off of Main Street,
Okay.
right off the highway. You get off the highway, you're on Alarka Road basically, and then my property's on a road off of Alarka Road that dead ends.
Okay.
So there's only like one or two people beyond where my property will sit. So
Yeah.
it's very secluded, but we're like 10 minutes from Bryson City, 15 minutes from the Smoky Mountains Park.
Hmm.
It's really the location is really great. So yes, the villas are going to be phase one. Those six will all be identical structures.
Okay.
And then the amenities for that section, which it'll be available for the entire property. But in that area, I'm building a pool, an outdoor barbecue area. There'll be a creekside fire pit and like uh, a store, basically, a
Yeah.
retail store where you can get, your non-perishables or whatever you might need if you forgot toothpaste or whatever. And then there'll be some souvenirs and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's all phase one.
Okay.
Phase two is across the street on the other side. I'm gonna have some like two-story like towers where I'll have like the living area and kitchen downstairs and then the bedroom upstairs. Again, full glass. And this is gonna be up on the ridge of the mountain.
Very cool.
So you're gonna be having those beautiful views and those are gonna be very contemporary, very modern.
Hmm.
Whereas the villas are gonna be um, more
Kind of like a rustic feel since you're in the mountains.
well, they're very modern, but very comfortable,
Okay.
right? So
Sure.
it's not because, when you get to contemporary modern, sometimes it can be a little too clean. So I
Sure.
want to,
Yeah. Tight lines. Yeah.
yep,
All hard edges. I gotcha.
exactly. And that's what those towers will be up on the ridge of the mountain. And
Hmm.
then below that, there's a little area where I'm going to build like a gym and a spa, like a little health area.
Yeah.
That's phase two. And the plan is for six of those units as well.
Hmm.
And then phase three, we're going to have a garden area, and I want to build six like French style cottages.
Cool.
And so the idea is you come and you stay in one unit, but all of them are connected with trails.
Hmm.
There's trails along the creek. There's trails at the ridge of the mountain. So
Yeah.
they're all connected. So as you're walking around the property, you're like, oh, next time I want to stay in that unit.
Sure.
Right.
Well, and it
So
gives
that's
you
kind
a,
of yeah,
yeah, I love that. I love that that flow because then it also gives the guest a chance to interact with each other if they want to, right? Like you're just going on a stroll. You kind of have that RV park vibe, but like you said, it's elevated because
yeah,
you're in these very luxurious units that they're staying in. The location is great. You're still in nature, but it's convenient to all these other things that you want to do.
yeah,
You're gonna have all these cool amenities. So like, I love it, bro. That's
yeah.
super cool.
Everybody I talk to thinks it's really cool, and I feel very fortunate that I came across this land because, like I said, I was going to look at a farmhouse that was not going to work out for what I wanted,
Yeah.
and the realtor's like, "Hey, I got this other property," and yeah, it's it's pretty sweet. It's
That's
going to be awesome.
awesome. Yeah. So what do you think? Obviously, you're still on the early stages, but like, what's an ideal time frame for phase one to be launched, or at least even like the first unit, we're having our first guest stay at X time frame.
So I've talked to a general contractor, and so if we're able to close in 4 weeks like we're supposed to,
Hmm.
want to start breaking ground like October 1st.
Okay.
And then the plan is 11 months, September of next year to launch.
Amazing. And that's for the first phase to be
That's
completed.
for all
Yeah.
six units. Yeah. So
Love it.
it's aggressive, but I'm talking with the general contractor and because they're all identical,
Hmm.
we can have the different crews basically go from one
Yeah.
unit to the next to the next to the next and just kind of like that assembly line will
Totally. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
and that's your economies of scale, kind of like going back to the storage units because they're all on the same site, right? They're like
Yeah,
literally walking feet away. And it's just, yeah, each step of the building process. Okay. Framer is here today. He's going to the next one tomorrow
exactly.
down the line. And then, all right, drywall, in
Yep.
insulation, all the things. And so hyper efficient there. Um, and then I'm sure that'll help with cost as well, because
Oh yeah.
if you can buy all of your materials in bulk and they're all staying in one spot, then less people running around,
Yep.
less change orders for the things you need to buy, and then yeah, ultimately the guys can just work, and so
Yeah.
they can get it done faster. And being in an area like you mentioned that has very little restrictions as far as like zoning requirements and inspections and all that kind of stuff, like all of the things that you mentioned, like city of Raleigh where I live would have an
Yeah.
absolute field day with something like this. Like it would
Yeah.
take a couple years just to get this through the city,
Yeah.
like for them to even think about it. And so that's that's awesome that it's going to be so little red tape for you to actually bring your vision to life. And so it's just a matter of the time to take to build, which is super cool.
And that's the reason I stuck with it. Like I said, I talked to Doran and he's like, don't do it. But because of all the red tape and all the hurdles and all the,
Sure.
politics and whatever.
Yep.
And but yeah, so I just called the lady again and she's telling me that if you get that septic permit, you get that engineered foundation, you
Hmm.
bring that to me. She goes, I can have the building permit in like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, dude. Amazing.
So
Love
it's
that.
so I'm like, why wouldn't I do this?
Sure.
Like if there was a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of,
Hmm.
yeah, I probably would have quit this
Sure.
4 or 5 months
Well,
ago.
and I mean, honestly, I think it's really commendable that you're trying to do it all on your own, right? Like just
Yeah.
throwing yourself in the
That's the
deep
hard
end.
part.
Yeah. So like you could easily give up a little bit of equity and see
Yeah.
if like, hey, you've done something like this, like come along and show me. But
Yeah.
you're like, no, I think like obviously you're still leaning on mentors and taking their advice, but it's like, this is my baby. I'm gonna get it through. Like, let me figure it
Yeah.
out. I'll just throw me in the
Yeah.
deep end and I'm gonna learn how to swim. And
Yeah.
so that's really commendable. I love that. That's awesome, dude.
I mean, hey, if anybody watching this has some money and wants to partner, I'm not opposed to it.
Sure.
Like I said, I need to come up with basically $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to do with the pre-sales. But
Sure.
yeah, if the pre-sales work, I keep 100% equity, bonus, right?
Yeah.
But if there's somebody like in the community that's like, hey, this is up my alley,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for that too, because there's something to be said about partnering up, and basically each person brings their own strengths to the table.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea. I've
Mm-hmm.
I've been reaching out to, like I said, some investors, and there's been some interest,
Yeah.
but it hasn't got to that level. So just trying to be creative, trying to think like Pace, like, okay, what am I going to do to make this happen? So
Sure. No, I love it though. And I mean, the vision is there. You have enough clarity on what you're doing that finding the money, I don't think will be a challenge for a project like this.
yeah,
Um, so super exciting, man. So
yeah. Thank you. Appreciate
if
it.
people are watching this, they want to reach out to you, learn more about the project, maybe potentially investing or partnering with you in some way. What's the best place to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So my personal handles for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is Trevor Tirrell.
Mm-hmm.
You just search for my name, you'll find it.
Yeah.
My project is the Alarka Micro Resort.
Okay.
And because the area that it's in is the Alarka, it's not really a town. I think it's a township. There's a fire station. That's about it.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's Alarka Road, Alarka Creek, and the Alarka
Sure.
Fire Station. That's
Makes
pretty much
sense.
all that. It's pretty much
Yeah.
all that's there. And now an Alarka Micro Resort.
Sure.
But anyway, so the website is Stay Alarka.
Okay.
Same thing, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that. And Alarka, Alarka. But if you go
Okay.
to stayalarka.com/founders,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm doing the Founders Club.
Cool.
So if anybody wants to like pre-purchase a stay at a huge discount, I've got, anywhere from 25 to 35% discount, depending on what
Mm-hmm.
package they choose.
Yeah.
Um, and, off of the first year's ADR.
Sure.
Of course, if you do a 5-year package, by year 5, you're actually saving a lot of money. There's no blackout dates.
Yeah.
Like if you're a founder, you get 2 months head start on the count. When I'll open the booking calendar to founders 2 months ahead of the public.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a founder, you get first dibs at the calendar, no
Yeah.
blackout dates, you know. Um, so I think it's, I would probably buy it. Like,
Right. Yeah,
it's
you
a
want to
good,
make an offer so good that you can't
it's
say
a
no
good
to.
deal.
And I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like an amazing deal. So
And
love that.
there's, like I said, I'm only selling about 15 to 20% of the available occupancy. So I don't need that much to get to where I need to be. So
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, dude, I love it. So one piece of advice
sure.
that you would give to yourself 2 years ago, right? Now that you've gone through this journey and you're kind of right at the footsteps of walking up this big
Mhm.
big goal, right? The Everest that we've talked about.
Yep. Yep.
Um, what's a piece of advice that you'd give yourself like 2 years prior, or somebody that's just getting into the game, like chasing after something that they've never done before?
It's hard because, like, again, I didn't have any experience in real estate. So when I came in, 6 months after I joined Subto, I did
Mm-hmm.
a wholesale Subto deal on a house down in Panama City, Florida,
Yeah,
um, and which was cool. It was awesome, but it was a lot of work for not much money.
sure.
Like $4,300. And actually, the lady just emailed me last week. This is a year and 3 months later. I'm still dealing with this, right? So it's like, but I think the thing for me was trying to figure out what I want to do and
Yeah.
not that shiny object syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I had to find what spoke to me.
Yeah.
I was trying to be like, well, I could do this, or I could capital raise, or I could do this, and I was trying to fit myself into, you know,
Mm-hmm.
trying
Whatever
something,
box is in front of me.
whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it wasn't until, I stumbled across, like, I didn't really understand micro resorts, but when I went down that path and I came across micro resorts, I was like, okay, that's it. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That speaks to me, and I can get excited about it. I can get passionate about it.
Yeah.
It's not something where I'm gonna like spend a month trying to raise capital and then like, yeah, that's not working, and then spend a month, trying to wholesale and no, that's not working, and
Yeah.
that's basically what I was doing. So
Mm-hmm.
just finding what speaks to you, what gets you excited,
Yeah.
and don't feel like you have to try all these things because there's so many opportunities.
Yeah.
Just find what gets you excited.
That's great. I love that advice. That's awesome. Well, Trevor, thanks so much
Yeah,
for sharing your story. Really excited to watch this whole project progress, and all the things you're going to learn while you go through it. Super exciting.
sure.
Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until the next one, I will catch you later.